Good afternoon. Have a seat. Have a seat. You come from Bihar, Saharsa, and we find that history of India, modern East Asia, Europe. St. Stephen College you are coming from, very good. BA you did in 2018. Since then you are preparing for services, I suppose. And watching documentaries.
Can I call you Shailja or Miss Shailja? What? Aram better. Relax, absolutely. Okay. So we are little advanced in age, so you have to speak loudly for us to hear. Okay. Yeah, little more loud. That will be nice, right? I find that you passed out in history from St. Stephen's.
Yes.
And after that, you've been apparently preparing
Yes.
bringing in valor of the people who fought for the freedom of this country, bringing out issues of national security issues, okay, which has been neglected in the past. Okay, do you feel it's a right move? There's something which was neglected in the past now being brought in?
Yes, I think to a certain extent, yes, it is the right move, because we need to know the contribution of our freedom fighters and the other historical figures who give a lot of information about what had happened in the past and what can be improved in the future. So in that sense, yes, I think reading about the rebellions and the revolts do play an important role in education as such of an individual.
Okay. Little controversial, but it's only from the examination point of view. People say that, we could have got our freedom much early if we had not followed the non-violence, but we followed the path of violence. How do you justify this statement?
So yes, it can be said that it could have happened earlier, but then we could say that the after effects would have been very different. So if we had been doing it through a military coup, then the history and then the future would have had a lot of impact of that event. So in that sense, I believe that as a democracy, we have been one of the largest democracy, and so non-violence in that sense really plays a major role in making the nation as we are today.
Constitution was made and some amendments were made to the preamble little later. What are those amendments to the?
According to the 42nd Amendment Act, the words secular, socialist, and I think integrity was added in 1976.
Why? Why was it brought in?
So the secular elements was already there, but to make it more vocal, or to make it more as such, to make it more identical to the constitution, it was added, but it was already present in terms of the articles from 25th to 30th that deals with the religious freedom and the socialist principles which are already incorporated in the directive principles of state policy.
If you become a civil servant, your aim will be to work as per the constitution or work as per the direction of the political.
So as a civil servant, my work would be according to the Constitution of India. So,
what will you do when there is a conflict?
So if there is a conflict, then I would first give priority to what is there in the Constitution. If there is a clear directive that says that this should be done according to the Constitution, I would follow that, and then I'll look at the other aspects of that particular problem.
Keep that always in mind. Okay.
Shailja, now with every coming election, you keep on listening lot of announcement for freebies, free electricity, free water. Now, what are your views about it?
Sir, my views would be about the fact that these freebies have a lot of impact on the fiscal policy and the fiscal deficit of a particular state or country. So then the government needs to look at it critically, whether they should be given or there are other electoral manifesto that they could possibly give. So in certain extent, I think freebies should be limited, but then to certain low income people they can be given, but it should be.
But can you do it? Can you stop anybody announcing freebies before election?
So I think we cannot really tell the government to stop it, but Yes, there should be dialogue or a policy framework to really have a
So dialogue is different, policy framework is different.
yes.
Can you convince a politician by dialogue, not announcing freebies?
Yes, sir.
Will you try one?
I will, sir, if given a chance.
What are the, say, if I say India is a vibrant democracy, what are the features of Indian vibrant democracy? Why we call it a vibrant democracy?
So I would say a vibrant democracy in terms of how the voters are belonging to different class and different caste and different regional and religious backgrounds.
So one is the elections, regular, impartial, fair elections. One. What else?
Other would be in terms of the Panchayati Raj system, the importance of grassroots level democracy and how it plays a major role in then furthering the democratic principles.
What else? If the government goes straight, who stops government from going straight?
Straight or straight?
Straight, away from democratic norms. Who stops government?
I think so. The people of the country through the elections.
You have a provision of judicial review, judiciary. Isn't it a feature of a vibrant democracy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, tell me one thing. Why do you give vaccine in muscle in this region? Say corona vaccine, you must have also got it. They always give in this upper arm. This is called deltoid region. Deltoid muscle is there.
I think, sir, to the limited knowledge I have, I think that COVID vaccine was intramuscular vaccine, so it was given.
No, then there are a lot of other muscles also. Why only this muscle? Even if it is intramuscular.
So maybe it is easier or it is convenient to give it here. Maybe, but I have to look at it.
Okay. What is a vaccine?
So it is a. I could say it is a chemical composition of a product which induces immunity response to a particular disease for which it is made.
So it's a chemical product or it's a biological product?
So I think can be a chemical or a biological.
Give me some example of chemical vaccine. How would a chemical vaccine have antigen?
Yes, it would be a biological, but.
Can you tell me some vaccine which is not taken by parental route? I mean, which is taken by oral route?
In the oral polio vaccine.
Now, polio is what kind of disease polio is?
So polio is a viral disease.
How does it spread?
So it is a viral disease and then it affects the. I think it affects the movement of an individual.
No. How does it spread? How does it transmit? Like corona transmits through, air or droplets or whatever it is.
Yes, it can spread through droplets as well as through air also.
Are you sure?
No, sir. It spreads through droplets and through blood.
It's a waterborne disease. It spreads through dirty food or dirty water.
Yes.
You are interested in, I'm seeing, archaeological discoveries. So who discovered Pompeii? When was it discovered? Yeah.
As far as archaeology is concerned, or the late.
It was a very, very famous city buried under the Mount Vesuvius volcanic eruption, no? When was it discovered that there was this whole city there?
I think I have to look at it. I do not.
Okay, all right. In India, can you tell me the oldest archaeological find?
Ma'am, I think in India, Robust Bruce Foot find the first Paleolithic axe tools and the Paleolithic remains in the Pune region.
Pune region. There is also not far from New Delhi, Mangarbani, no? Okay, you read up about that. All right. Now, you have also given foreign service as your option, one of your options, right? What do you know about Indian women in the foreign service? Are they enough? Are they well represented?
I think, ma'am, to a certain extent now they have been well represented, but more improvements could be made.
You have any idea how many men are there in the service and how many women?
Portion I'm not aware of the exact figure.
Okay. And how many women heads of missions are there at the moment? Ambassadors? A
No,
rough guess.
no, I cannot guess.
You also have to look at the gender equality when you think that out of 33 foreign secretaries, so far there have only been 3 women foreign secretaries. Do you have any idea who was the first woman foreign secretary?
I think I'm not Nirupama Rao.
Chokila Iyer.
Yes, sir.
You've heard of Malabar exercises?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it briefly, please?
It is a joint exercise between India, US, and Japan in the Indo-Pacific region, and it has gained quite prominent importance in the recent times due to the Quad summit. Also, it is seen as somewhat complementing the whole Quad aims.
So got one more country, no? It began as 3.
It has also got Australia.
Yes, in the last. Where was the last exercise held in 2021?
Ma'am, was it around the Japan region? But I'm not sure.
Guam,
Guam, yes, in
Pacific region, yeah. Why is it called Malabar exercise?
ma'am, maybe because Malabar as a coast holds a lot of importance in India.
It started the first from the Malabar coast, which was very scenic and beautiful. So they named the exercise Malabar exercise. Okay. You know anything about the moon missions, Chandrayaan?
Yes, ma'am, I've read, but I'll try to.
Tell me briefly. We've had how many so far?
We've had 2.
Yeah, how were they? Were they successful?
Ma'am, Chandrayaan 1 was in collaboration with NASA, I would say, and it had a lot of importance in terms of the discovery of water remains on the moon. And the Chandrayaan 2 mission, I think it did fail in.
It crashed. Yeah, yeah. While it was landing, no, it crashed. Okay. And the third mission, when is it scheduled for?
I think, ma'am, it is scheduled in 2024.
Yeah, it was scheduled for late 2022, but the pandemic has delayed it. What are unicorns? There was a report about how the first quarter this year, 14 new unicorns have been added.
Ma'am, unicorns are the startups which has a valuation of around $1 billion in the economy. So in that sense, they show the vibrancy of the entrepreneurial activities in the economy.
And they've got a global identity now, no? Can you name some prominent ones? There are some which are led by women.
I think one startup I remember was Mishu, I think. Misho. Nika also.
Nika is very, very popular. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you must have heard of Ramchandra Guha.
Yes, sir.
Why is he so critical of the government? What is his point of view?
So the reason I cannot say why is he critical, but he does talk about a lot of other ways through government, how can the governance in the country could be improved, but I cannot say why is he really being.
No, he has a point of view. What does he say?
So that I will have to read.
What is the subaltern view of history?
So subaltern view of history talks about the history from the point of view of those who had been left out by the earlier historiography of history. So one way is that in terms of the freedom struggle, we have always overlooked Chauri Chaura incident and how peasants have a major role to play in that incident. So that is subaltern view of history, I would say, through an example.
At the current level of our syllabus for this colleges, schools rather, there is also a view that our outlook on history itself has to change. What is that?
Sir, we need to look at gender issues and we need to look at these lower class people and their issues from a more broader point of view.
That we have gone past that. What I am asking you now is now there is a
attempt at rewriting history and all. What is that?
So that issue is about how history as a subject has focused a lot on the medieval history and Delhi Sultanate, the Mughal history, and we have in a way ignored the ancient history. So there is one view that talks about that.
Have you heard of another author? I've asked this question of others also because I'm thinking. Vikram Sampath, have you heard of him? What is the controversy he has got into?
Sir, he has published 2 articles on Pandit Veer Savarkar, and there had been
It was a book.
books, and there had been allegations of plagiarism by him by certain historians in the US itself and India also. So that is the issue.
Have you heard of Competition Commission of India and the Competition Act? What does it look at and what is it supposed to?
So the aims of Competition Commission of India is to prohibit the monopoly in the economy, how certain institutions could be prevented from having a monopoly over the economy or any other aspects of society.
Anything to do with Google on this?
Yes, I can say to a certain extent how Google is seen as monopolizing the.
On what issue?
So I think in terms of how social media or the news.
In terms of predatory practices, in terms of not making available the value for the print and electronic and making the use item. Good. But why did you do your post-graduation?
So,
in Delhi University, very rarely from Delhi people stop at that level.
Yes, and that is one thing, but I've always planned to sit for civil services, though it took more time than I expected, but that was my aim always.
What are major sources of ancient history in India?
So the major sources are both material remains, the archaeology, along with the written records. In written records, we have inscriptions, then we have historical records, we have secular writings, we have religious writings. So all those constitute the.
What has been, of course, Megasthenes, what has been written by him, does it really make a source for ancient history?
Sir, Megasthenes Indica, which talks about the Mauryan Empire, it gives a lot of information on the aspects which are not dealt with in other sources. So the 4-class system which was present in the Mauryan times, along with a lot of information about the political system that existed.
Which year he came to India and wrote his travelogue? Which language he wrote?
The exact year I don't remember.
Language you must have known.
Language, I think it was in Greek.
Greek.
Yes.
And which language Huensang wrote?
So he wrote in Chinese.
Mandarin or Mandarin? Approximately how many years he lived in India?
So Huensang, I think, lived for 40 years. No, but I think 7 years. But then I have to look.
Oh, I think 6 to 7 years. And which university he was working with?
So he worked with Nalanda University.
Give some very great personalities from Bihar, their names.
So the first name would be Chakravartin Ashok Samrat, who did talk a lot about the secular notions during that time. And the second name would be Ajat Shatru, who
Thoda zor se.
Ajat Shatru, who established the Patliputra as the kingdom of Bihar. The other names would be the names of Gupta Empire, the Samudragupta, Skandagupta.
What was the headquarter for Samudragupta?
So headquarter was Patliputra.
You are forgetting Kautilya?
Yes, Kautilya.
वो तो चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य का गुरु था. Huensang, what did he do? I mean, what for he came and what followed his journey?
So he came as a part of Buddhist mission to India. He came to read about Buddhism during that time, and along with that he wrote the book. I'm forgetting the name of that book, but he talks about the religious characteristics of the times, along with he gives information on the political system during the
Travelogue he wrote. I don't know whether there was any specific name of the book he wrote. Anyway, so what did he do when he returned?
So the name of the book was CUK,
What was?
CUK something, and then it translates into something else in India.
So what did he do while returning to China?
So that I'll have to.
No, what I meant was, did he carry with him some literature or anything?
Carry a lot of literature from the Nalanda University, and
What happened to that literature?
it is stored in China, and then it is said that in China Buddhism as a religion flourished because of the works of Yuan Sang and one other I Sing.
Every document was translated into Mandarin. For years the translation work went on, and that contributed towards Buddhism spread in China. So far Chinese history is concerned, have you heard of Marco Polo?
Yes, sir. He was also a traveler in 12th century. He came to India in 12th century or 14th century.
13th century. He made 2 trips to Chinese Empire. Who was the Chinese emperor at that time, and what happened? What is the highlight of Marco Polo? Where from did he come?
So I do not remember the Chinese emperor,
Venetian.
but I think during the time of Tang dynasty, I think he went to China during the Tang dynasty. But
Who was the emperor?
I do not remember the name of the.
I think it was Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan. What is his contribution, to the interaction between Europe and China of that time?
He describes the trade of the times, the economy especially. He talks about the trade from the Red Sea to the Persian Gulf region. So in that sense, he gives the name of the commodities of import and export, and mostly focuses on the economic history, because at that time,
the Silk Road or some other road?
yes, a Silk Road.
Did he come to visit India also?
Sir, he visited South India, I believe, but there was some.
Some people say that. Okay. They say that Kublai Khan requested him to bring some padris, the Christian clerics. And in the second trip, he did carry some with him. But on the way, they were so much harassed, they ran away and came back. They say that if they had reached Kublai Khan, perhaps China would not have been Buddhist, it would have been Christian. Do you agree with merely taking a few padris, clerics, Christian clerics, would have made the difference?
I would say, sir, in certain regions it could have spread, but as a mass movement, that could not have been possible, because
Mongols are known for a particular warfare. What is the highlight of that warfare? Genghis Khan ran over a lot of Europe and Asia.
Mongolians are said to have mastery over the Central Asian steppes horses.
Horses.
Yes, sir. And it is said that in the medieval times, due to their expertise over this particular horse war and guerrilla warfare, they overran over a large part.
Thank you. Your interview is over, Shailja. I will give you a little bit of feedback. You are bright. So the first one is that go through the CD that will be given to you, or pen drive, and go through if something can be improved. In our opinion, you are doing very good. Only thing is you don't have to lean forward while talking. You don't have to do that in UPSC, because the room will be small, 1/3 of it. Okay. So anyway, you will be near the chair. So you are doing very well. You are confident. You are knowledgeable, and this is your third attempt in appearance and interview. Which attempt?
It's the first attempt.
First attempt only. This will be the first attempt. on 18th May. Still a month's time, and we suggest that you put in a lot of hard work on things you already know. Don't take up any new subject, but accept the current affairs. There every day new things are happening. You have to be thorough. You have to be understanding the currents behind the events, the dialogues, India US dialogue, if it is there. What are the undercurrents? That has to be understood. India China, why this has come to such a sorry pass that it is difficult to contain China by any nation. Even US is finding difficult to contain them. Okay. Then you have eye contact with the members and chairperson. That's a good habit, and it shows your confidence, and you are almost dressed. Almost. Only thing is, we were a bit intrigued why you gave IFS later than income tax. So you prepare yourself. I think this question might have been asked already. No, it didn't. But it will come.
I am seeing IFS always down the list, so no, I don't ask.
No.
Why?
IRS के भी नीचे जा रहा है, वो चिंता की बात है. So anyway, you have to prepare for this. You see, obviously everybody cannot know everything, but to that extent your knowledge is quite wide and deep as well. So to that extent we are quite happy with that part of your personality test. It is a personality test, not an interview.
Yeah.
Always keep that in mind. Try to speak little louder.
Little louder.
You know?
Practice.
And things about your district. You should know things about Bihar. You already know about Gupta dynasty and Maurya dynasty, but forgetting Kautilya was a tactical mistake.
Played a great role in
he was the kingmaker, ma'am. He was the.
You should also sit straight.
No, you don't have to give any explanation. I'm just. And you want to ask anything from the board?
You want to ask anything?
Not any particular, but I think I have to revise a lot on science and technology.
Okay, go ahead. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.